Mic test 1, 2, 3. Ooh, we're back. Yo, what is going on, guys? I am back from my trip in Helsinki. It was an amazing trip. I learned so much. I will put together kind of like a vlog video going over my thoughts on that trip soon. Stay tuned for that on this channel. But today we have got some interesting kind of news / a blog post to go over, which you can check out in this new news tab. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm still a little tired from the fucking jet lag and everything. It'll take me some time to adjust. But look at this. We have an article named 2025 in Review, Frank's blog post. Basically, if you don't know, Frank Kyenberg, he is the general manager of Brawl Stars. This is one thing actually that I learned while visiting Helsinki, is that like there's one big company, Supercell, that like creates all these different games: Brawl Stars, Moko, Clash Royale, Clash of Clans, etc. But it's not just one CEO that manages all of these companies. Actually, the CEO kind of just like, you know, he's a co-founder. He's living his life, okay? And he has a president that does all the management stuff, and then under the president are the general managers. So the general managers of each game basically are the like pseudo CEOs, if you can think of it, of each respective game, and they don't really talk to each other or like coordinate at all. So you can think of Frank Kyenberg as basically he's the brawl guy. He's like he's the lead developer. He's the main guy. He's the head. He controls everything. He specifically is the reason why your ranked randoms are selling your games. He pays them all to do it. So, and he's also the main guy you can think of as being basically responsible for a lot of the successes and failures of the game. He's like the captain of the ship. He kind of steers it in the right direction. And 2025 was a pretty weak year for Brawl Stars. It's actually kind of funny. 2025 on my second channel was quite good, actually, overall. But then the creator code thing happened, and I fell into a bit of a slump here too. But I mean, I'm still, having a good time making these videos, so it is what it is. But 2025 overall, quite a weak year for Brawl Stars. We started off with the Buzz Lightyear event. You guys might remember the whole debacle with the Pizza Planet collab and everything, and Toy Story and whatnot. And then we had the ranked rework with the Pro Pass and everything that came with that. We also had the Katana Kingdom event, the Subway Surfers event, and also Records, which replaced Masteries, which also came this year. Oh, and then we ended off with like Upside Showdown and Stranger Things collab, and then also the Buffy's update. From those, you can probably point to a couple pretty controversial updates and changes that happened, which a lot of people attribute to the game maybe not doing so well in 2025 compared to the really big boost of 2024. Well, in this article, Frank is basically going to talk about his and the dev team's perspective on 2025. What went wrong, what went well, what they're going to try to look to maybe change in the future with 2026 this year, to try to make Brawl Stars, gobble up all those lost Clash Royale players after their generational fumble. It's funny how like Brawl Stars and Clash Royale seems to have like opposite trends, where like when one game dies, the other game like blows up or something. And right now we're seeing the reversal of this trend as Clash Royale kind of drops off and Brawl Stars is climbing. Not coordinated, it seems. Apparently, like as far as I can tell, guys, they don't actually coordinate this at all. It's just like you have to think about it, right? From the perspective of Supercell, they would want both games to succeed if possible, because then they'd just make more money. But apparently the actual crossover between Brawl Stars and Clash Royale, it is there, but it's not as much as you think. Like maybe less than 10% of accounts actually have both Brawl Stars and a Supercell account on their Supercell ID. Just something to think about. Or at least that's what I've heard from, in my time there when I talked to like a developer. Don't tell anyone that I leaked that info, okay, guys? I think it's finally time we go over this article. I haven't read it yet, by the way, but I will just give you my thoughts as we read it. I'll be like the TikTok guy. It's the Subway Surfing TikTok voice, reading everything as you guys do your chores or eat your sandwich or whatever on your lunch break. And maybe you can actually comprehend something. Wow, good thing I did all that reading practice. Now I'll actually be able to comprehend all this stuff and read it on my own without getting distracted. All right, let's just jump right into it. So 2025 in review. We thought it would be interesting to try something new. How did 2025 feel for us on the development team? Would that be something you, our community, are interested to hear about? Only one way to find out. And yeah, same thing. If you guys like me reading articles for you all and like talking about it and giving my thoughts on it, let me know. If you don't and you'd rather just get more rank slop or even prestige content, I mean, whatever, or solo showdown content, guys, tell me whatever you're interested in. Just let me know. 2026, guys, when I transition to a solo showdown YouTuber, wouldn't that be funny as fuck? In December 2024, we shipped Update 59.0, and with it, our collaboration with Disney's Toy Story, featuring the first temporary brawler in Brawl Stars, Buzz Lightyear. This update would carry us into 2025 and establish a strong foundation for the year to come. Or so we thought. Yeah, like that update went great, guys, by the way. Really great job. Loved what you did with the Buzz Lightyear. Teaming up with Disney was a dream come true for us. We loved the opportunity to work with the teams behind some of the most beloved IPs ever created, and our collaboration with Disney and Pixar went smoothly from the first day, with both sides inspiring each other throughout the process. Actually, I will say, just like kind of looking behind the scenes, into like the under the hood of the dev team, it looks like when the Brawl Stars does do a collab like this, the Brawl Stars dev team actually already has a bunch of ideas and like skins. Like their artists are basically constantly working around the clock, just like generating these skin ideas and concepts, even for brands and IPs that they aren't working with yet. And once they have like a list, if they have like a list of skins that they think are really fucking sick and dope, they'll basically reach out to an IP and be like, hey, you want to collab? Or maybe an IP reaches out to them at some point too. And if the other company and IP says like, yeah, you know, we'd actually love to work with you, they can, Brawl Stars then already has like a backlog of skins they can already send over and be like, yo, what do you think about these? You know, hastens up the process of getting these collabs out. And also, I guess, makes them kind of higher quality too, because like, you know, Brawl Stars aren't like rushed and like trying to make like just like whatever slap skins. They, you know, a lot of these collab skins are actually kind of made out of like the passion. The devs at Supercell are a bunch of fucking nerds, and they genuinely are big fans of like all, you know, shows and whatever, and they're just like, they're basically like a bunch of fan artists, but they work at Supercell. If you think about it, like fans of other media and content, and they're just like making a bunch of fan art and basically sending it over to the creator, be like, yo, we actually have to work at a game, you want to do stuff together. I saw some interesting skins that are I'm not going to name what they were or like what brand they were, but they were bangers, and I was like, fuck, that would be really cool if that was in the, you reach out and get a positive response back. Buzz Lightyear was one of the most ambitious brawlers we had created until this point, and going all the way in with this idea meant a significant investment from our side. Ultimately, the effort required to deliver the quality we were looking for was the equivalent of 3 brawlers, including some of the custom UI UX explorations. That makes sense, they literally did make 3 different brawlers with this Buzz Lightyear thing. And on top of Buzz Lightyear, we created a series of skins around the Toy Story IP in a temporary event in January 2025 focused around the Pizza Planet arcade, with lighthearted variations of 2v2 game modes as well as some new in-game modes like the controversial air hockey. Playing in the January season would allow you to unlock new skins, the new Brawler Meeple, and ultimately a Buzz Lightyear skin for Surge for free! All of this was accompanied by a series of videos featuring Buzz Lightyear and a series of Brawl Stars characters, the animations alone accumulating 40 million plus views. You could say we were, and still are, quite proud of the quality of content we produced both inside and outside of the game. On paper, this all sounds good. So how did it go? Well, unfortunately, I guess Frank, has to say, not great. While we created some serious buzz, no pun intended, about Buzz Lightyear in Brawl Stars, his temporary release negatively impacted the game in different ways. He was seriously overpowered and for a time omnipresent, disrupting matchmaking and the regular game flow. It's kind of interesting, right? Like the one update, which in theory is like the most free-to-play friendly, where you give out everybody 3 brawlers essentially for free, maxed out, instantly unlock it, everyone has it, and it was like one of the worst ideas ever. Like especially contrasting to the serious event that happened recently, where like a limited number of people were given serious for free. Essentially, like you had to either be good enough to win every game with your tickets or have every brawler already unlocked, and that just like people really like this one more comparatively to Buzz Lightyear, because I guess, you know, it's just more balanced. Even though Serious is arguably more broken than Buzz Lightyear was, it's just gatekeeping new brawlers can actually be good. You know, you don't get every game with 3 Seriouses, right? It's just you see him often. But the Serious is also like not maxed out automatically, so you know, I mean, there's just like a lot of reasons why, like balance wise, this gatekeeping it actually did help out. And also the I think that chase, not like having the chase there of trying to unlock a new brawler versus just getting it for free automatically, like the amount of excitement for the new content is like very different there, right? It was clear that Buzz caused a lot of grief in the community. At the time, a lot of players were playing him a lot and having fun doing so, which was especially visible when we removed him. We saw an immediate decline in activity. But that's not where it ended. Wait, really? Oh yeah, that's right too. I kind of forgot about that aspect. Like, people actually did like playing Buzz Lightyear too, and then especially if you like pick up the game at that time, like imagine you play Buzz Lightyear as like your favorite brawler and then it gets removed. I think I actually talked about that in my Toy Story collab video that I made on my main channel. Yeah, I forgot. It's been so long I forgot, but that was also kind of another half to the dilemma of adding a temporary brawler like that. Continuing though, but that's not where it ended. Instead of releasing Meeple like previous brawlers at the end of the month of December 2024, we thought it would be nice to make him available for free for all players as part of the Pizza Planet arcade event. This turned out to be a mistake and had some unintended consequences. For those of you who had all brawlers unlocked before the season ended, credits accumulated on the Brawl Pass would go towards fame instead, which didn't feel great. Oh, interesting that he actually talks about fame here. Fame is always one of those things that's like kind of a niche mechanic actually, because most players don't have fame. It's only people who have every brawler in the game who have fame. A lot of people complain about fame like, oh, Brawl Stars should do X, Y, or Z related to fame. Like they should delete fame, they should remove fame. Or, you know, they should like make it like a credit bank to make it so you can store all your credits and unlock the new brawler on release like faster. For me, it's always kind of been like, if you're at the point where you have fame, you have every brawler in the game, and you're gonna get more than enough credits just from regular play to unlock all the brawlers, even if the fame doesn't serve as a credit bank, right? It's just like one of those things that I always consider to be kind of a non-issue, but it's interesting that Frank does point it out here as like a general negative experience that some of the players feel. He goes on, to make things worse, the unlockable skins of the event store were not Toy Story themed, which felt inconsistent and somewhat random. To add insult to injury, we introduced a bug related to the event currency, which created quite the mess. Oh, right, they did have the whole SpongeBob currency like carrying over bug, I think, that made it so people just got a bunch of pizza slices for free and then got to like spend a bunch of it. And then all the Toy Story theme skins were all paid for with like actual in-game money, but then the shop had like a bunch of random legendary skins that weren't actually related to Toy Story event. That I remember all that yeah. In general, the January 2025 event was underwhelming pretty much from all angles, and this showed in the results, and with revenue and monthly active players dropping by around 20% from December 2024 to February 2025. Interesting. That's actually not as bad of a drop as I thought. Only 20%. Like, I remember the drop off being kind of more significant, but maybe that's Seasonality is real, and it is quite usual to see player behaviors and engagement shift whenever people go back to school/work after periods of holiday, but in January/February 2025, we lost more daily active players than what can be expected. A clear step change. What is a step change? Is it a change that gets stuck in washing machines a lot and needs help from its step sibling to get on? I don't know what that means. We started seeing this trend in January, but we were not equipped to pivot fast enough for the following update. Update 60 released at the end of February 2025. The update was endgame player-centric, with a clear focus on a ranked system refresh. It also delivered 2 new brawlers that were both well received by you, Finks and Lumi, as well as a smaller collaboration with the card game Uno. Oh, I actually forgot about the Uno collab. But yeah, Finks and Lumi actually really W new brawlers. I remember I really liked Lumi on release, even though she was broken. She's really fun. And people really like Finks too. He's also a pretty fun brawler. The rank system refresher was centered around higher power level requirements for brawlers, a seasonal rotation of freely available brawlers at max level, unification of queues, and a closer tie-in with the Brawl Stars Championship esports circuit that came with the new Pro Pass and progression skins. Our overall goal was to do something for our most engaged players and increase the amount of people playing ranked and creating more interest for esports in general. The first month of Rank 3.0 showed promise. The playtime for mid-trophy players increased by 27% from the previous peak in March 2024 and more than tripled playtime compared to the previous season. However, high trophy players, 25,000 plus, participation decreased by 50% from the previous peak, while it increased season over season by about 180%. Unfortunately, in the following months, the participation rate and playtime quickly normalized back to the previous seasons. Interesting. Actually, I will point out the wording here. High trophy players is defined as 25,000 plus trophies, or I guess which defined around last year, 2025. And the mid trophy players, where the playtime actually increased by 20% in last year, right? That mid trophy players are, I guess, less than 25k trophies. They're that middle section of like what I guess higher than 10k and then less than 25k. So that's mid trophy, and you're high trophy if you have more than 25,000 trophies, guys. Woo! Congrats. That's interesting. I think there's always this question of like, what is the average trophy like on an account for any given player? And a lot of people always estimate it to be like, oh, it must be like 50k, like 60k, like it must be pretty high. Apparently not. You know, from this wording, obviously they don't tell us the exact data. I wish they kind of gave us more stats in general in Brawl Stars. I think it would be really cool to like dive into like average player metrics and whatnot. But yeah, either way, another interesting thing here is that actually for higher trophy players, it looks like they didn't play ranked as much compared to the mid trophy players, which I guess maybe could make sense from the perspective of like, you know, with Rank 3.0, they actually revamped the progression system and gave a lot more resources in ranked. So maybe that could explain why like mid-trophy players play more ranked, whereas higher trophy players don't. But then they also say the higher trophy player participation increased season over season by about 180%. But then in the following months, the participation rate and playtime quickly normalized back to the previous seasons. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but that's just interesting, I guess, to think about that. Like, ultimately, the ranked rework, I guess, didn't like quite fix the main issue, which is that ranked just isn't accessible to a lot of players and isn't played very much by most people compared to like just the normal trophy modes. Going back to the article, the rework did make things more accessible for new players. Under 5,000 trophies players saw a 90% increase from the previous peak and almost 300% increase season over season, I assume, of playtime. You know, similar to other groups, things normalized, but it sustained on a significantly higher level of playtime than before. Overall, we were and are not happy with the state of rank today. So I guess, oh, sorry, the wording of this is a little weird. But I guess you're saying they are and are not happy with how ranked is today. The rework used up significant development resources and did not hit our goals. Worse, by definition, ranked is a feature that is more centered around the core and hardcore parts of our community. This means two things. The update had no chance to improve things for our mainstream players and consequently didn't manage to slow down the decline, but it also did not improve ranked for our most engaged players. Just kind of a meh update overall, it seems. Yeah, it's kind of a shame too, because in my opinion, you know, I mean, I make only ranked content on this channel pretty much. It's just a shame that ranked is not as popular with most players, because I think it's just the most fun way to play Brawl Stars. Now that trophies have been changed with prestige, I think trophies are actually a lot more fun than before, and I think, like, especially for casual plays, just like feels so much better to play in my opinion. Yeah, like if you're sitting down for like, you know, an hour session, you're like, I want to grind some Brawl, like ranked is definitely, in my opinion, the way to do it. It just seems like, you know, maybe the problem with ranked is not so much that it's not rewarding enough to play it in terms of like resources and stuff. Maybe the problem is just because like the rank does give a lot of resources now for like player progression. But maybe it's just that maybe the game mode itself is just not appealing to a lot of people, which is, it's just too bad. I have some ideas for how maybe they could fix that, but I'll probably save that for a video that I'll try to make by the end of this month. We'll see. Who knows if Brawl Stars has any plans to maybe try to address that in the future. Moving on to update 61, released late in April, was focused largely on the Battle for Katana Kingdom event, a storyline that started with the release of Kenji a year prior. The event featured a ton of proven concepts and new ideas, including a hub for the event itself, wasabi powers, sushi rolls, new PvE boss fights, a bunch of amazing skins, an in-game manga, continued storytelling with a 2-minute animation, and last but not least, the release of our first ultra legendary brawler, Kaze. Misspoke, sorry, I mispronounced the name. The event was a big success. New players and returning players peaked in May 2025. In some countries like Japan, our daily active players even reached new lifetime records. The meta was more diverse than in previous events. The theme itself was a hit. From our own perspective, this was one of the best events we released in 2025. This is even cooler considering that originally we had planned a collaboration with another IP, and Battle for Katana Kingdom was a result of a pivot. Oh my gosh, was this the event where like something got leaked and so the entire collab fell through? I forget. I think there was like a whole, not drama, but like a whole thing of like they intended a collaboration event here with the Katana Kingdom event, but then it actually fell through. And so last minute they had to scramble and like remake all the art for, you know, basically just a more generic Japanese event. But it was still a big hit. It's a shame now we won't know what the collaboration was for. But like looking at some stuff, I think like the Terra skin, it was theorized that it might have been an anime collab, like maybe I think Naruto or like Demon Slayer or something. I don't know. Either way, a real shame that the collab never got to be what it was intended to be. But still, I mean, the event was a big success. I remember around this time, personally, I was going through a breakup and I was like really bummed out about it. But, you know, the game was fun, I guess. Man, yeah, that whole time, I don't want to think about it actually too much. It's bad vibes for your boy. I was not that happy personally, but maybe I am like Clash Royale. When Brawl Stars does better, I do worse. This month, we also had our first Brawl Stars Championship event on US soil. Our mid-season event, the Brawl Cup, was held at DreamHack Dallas, featuring the top 8 teams from around the world. The 2024 World Champions from Humble, EMEA took it all, securing an additional World Final spot for their region, and Semantics secured the MVP award for the event. Toxic Lotus also won hearts during the event with the best placement for a team from mainland China in official Brawl Stars competitions. Oh yeah, I think I remember streaming that actually. But it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. Following Jaeyoung's rather uneventful release in late April, any positivity around Kaze's release and game mechanics was quickly overshadowed by the price tag of 50 USD. Technically, it all made sense. The price difference was in line with our regular pricing strategy, but at the end of the day, it also showed us the clear limitations of what price tag all of you out there would find acceptable. And this clearly wasn't acceptable for a brawler, or at least not for the majority of our community. That makes sense too. I mean, like, I mean, who's spending $50 on a brawler? Me. I'm spending $50 on a brawler, but only because someone in my comments actually paid for it. I think when Case released, I was like, yeah, guys, I don't really want to spend $50 on like a new brawler. That's just ridiculous. And then someone like super chatted a fucking $50 donut. I was like, buy the brawler. And I was like, all right, fuck. I think especially in the gaming industry, just $50 on a brawler is just like insane when you could be spending that on like a AAA title instead, or nowadays I guess half of a Nintendo game. You know, like even then, like half a Nintendo game, which is still considered quite overpriced, versus one brawler out of 100. The value proposition there is just a little off. Of course, if there exists some way for you to support of your favorite creator one day, if you guys ever had an ability to support your favorite creator by making expensive ass purchases, you know, in my opinion, I think it's a great value actually. Oh man, if only there was some way for that to happen though. Probably not anytime soon. Frank also says the price tag itself wasn't the problem, actually. The problem was that this was the only way you were able to get access to Ks. And that probably just kind of made it end up feeling more pay to win. But also, I think in the most recent event, you could have gotten Sirius for $35, I think. But like, no one was really calling Sirius kind of pay to win or anything, right? Like, even though Sirius is arguably stronger than Ks was on release and easier to play, you still $35, but you could also get in for free from the event that they did with boxes. And also, if you had every brawler, you just got them for free through like quest line. Like, I think it's kind of undersold just how awesome it is that Supercell did like add these free ways to get brawlers and are continuing to add these free ways to get brawlers. Like you can get the newest brawler on release for free every update, right? Just because of the box event that they're doing. I think that's really cool. The last part of this update was Brawl Arena, an experiment to test a longer form game mode with in-game power scaling and mobile mechanics. One of the best game modes, by the way. The mode temporarily boosted playtime in general, but quickly normalized and didn't manage to keep players engaged. Popularity dropped to similar levels like Heist and Hot Zone across all trophy levels. Damn, Heist and Hot Zone, whoa. That's kind of sad. I do wish that Brawl Arena, they went a little more in on like complexity there, because right now it really is just like leveling up is only a stat boost, but also every brawler scales differently too, so you can't really see what brawler's scaling. They need to, there's just a lot of reasons why Brawl Arena is like lacking in terms of support. Like if they did something where when you level up, you had the option to either choose between like the default stat boost or pick up like a cool power up. I feel like that would be cool, kind of like bringing back upside showdown elements to it. And they could maybe have like an option of 3 different random choices while still having like the default stat boost option too. I feel like that could be kind of a neat way to make the actual gameplay feel a little bit more diverse than just the same few lanes that are all picked because they just have the best scaling and the best piercing mechanics and everything. But also, they just need to like tell us what the scaling is, because right now this balance sheet just made the Brawl Arena, and I think most people don't even know like different brawlers have different stat scaling based on the brawler that you pick, and it's not even based on class, it's based on individual brawler. They gotta be kind of more transparent with that, I think. But like honestly, I guess to me it's actually kind of impressive that the game mode in the state is even as popular as Heist and Hot Zone. I don't know, although those are pretty unpopular game modes, but yeah, hopefully they do something with Brawl Arena. Then came update 62. We shipped the long-planned rework of the Trophy Road and transitioned from Brawler Masteries to Records. The Trophy Road changes included significant buffs for the progression of new players, which had a very positive impact, especially on early retention numbers. Records are a whole different story, and the short version is that it didn't have the desired effect of engaging more people with the system. If you want to know more about this one, I highly recommend you watch our latest Time to Explain episode, where Quinn, Danny, Adrian, and Gonzalo discussed this feature specifically. I don't think I talked about the Records segment of the Time to Explain podcast episode in like any video yet, but from what I remember, because I watched it on stream, was they basically said like, yeah, we fucked up with Records, it was bad. But they talked about how basically the reason they wanted to change Masteries to Records was because Masteries just wasn't a very engaging system. It was added in a time when Brawl Stars was doing pretty poorly, I think around like the Bling era when they added that as well, and the metrics were just kind of not going very well. And so they added Masteries thinking like, you know, this will maybe create like an additional quest to try to like grind for and give a bunch of, you know, free to play resources that will feel really good. And it did give a lot of resources. It did add like an additional thing to grind for, and the hardcore players did really like it, but the metrics still just did bad. They were just not like they didn't reverse the falling player numbers or even like, you know, daily active users or anything. And so, you know, kind of looking into the long term, like afterwards, like if you think about what Masteries is, right, it's a feature that serves as kind of a grind for a decent amount of resources, but you know, most people are only ever going to get the first or second tier of it, so you know, they're not going to get the 2,000 coins or the 300 power points that are kind of locked later on in the masteries of each brawler. And also, most people don't even have every brawler in the game yet, and so that means that functionally what masteries is it's a gate-kept resource pool that is only available for the most hardcore players, and everyone else doesn't have access to it, which I think is why they wanted to change it, and that's why they moved a lot of those resources to the Trophy Road. But you know, even though masteries like metrics wise didn't really do much, they replaced it with records, which I think was even worse. They talked about that in the podcast, which they realized was like a kind of a fucking mistake as well. But like, I think they talked about in the podcast how like fundamentally records and masteries is just kind of like a hard system. Like they don't really know how to fix it yet, but they're working on it. Because it seems just having a brawler specific resource quest line is not that satisfying to play for, apparently, is what they said based on what they see. Moving back to the article, Frank continues, one thing that we didn't talk about much is how difficult the development process of records was. We don't use the term development hell for live service games much, but this feature development cycle was as close to it as it gets. Changing stakeholders with different design visions, time constraints, reduced scope, and too many compromises, people who just joined the team thrown into the mess. We didn't only fail you out there with records, we failed the whole Brawl Stars team. Wow. We failed the whole Brawl Stars team. The learnings coming from this were maybe the most important ones in 2025. Interesting. So I guess that means that they've learned a lot, and maybe they'll take a stab at it again when they have maybe a better idea and don't fall into a development hell and waste a bunch of time and money on just a shitty update. Or 2026 will be like, we'll see a big rise in numbers for Brawl Stars, and they'll be at like their new peak, and then Records 2.0 will come out, and then that'll be what kills the game again. Anything's possible. Hopefully not. On a more positive note, the new brawlers Trunk and Ali both found their own community. Ali got a lot of love from fan artists. Oh, did she now? While Trunk's origin story broke hearts and made grown men cry. Update 63 released in early September, and with it our collaboration with Subway Surfers that also featured a bunch of experiments on our side, a new event currency with its own reward track. Oh, rails. Yeah, I don't remember actually caring about that at all. Controllable power-ups with its own joystick, changes to the play button rewarding you for 3 wins instead of 8. Oh yeah, they had a whole third joystick thing too for a bit. Kind of testing out the gadget joystick changes, I guess, if you think about it. Oh yeah, and then remember, like, you had to win 8 wins to get only 3 star drops before. You got 1 star drop for 1 win, and then you got 1 star drop for the next, I think, 3 wins, and then you got a star drop for like the next 4 wins or some shit. Yeah, I remember that. But then they changed it to only 1 star drop for 1 win afterwards. So you only have to win 3 times. That, yeah, interesting times. At the same time, our friends from Shut Your Bitch Up Games celebrated Brawl Stars and Subway Surfers, showcasing a 3-player version of their signature gameplay for the first time to their global audience. Oh, really? I had no idea that was a thing. I never played Subway Surfers when the event happens. That's interesting if they did a 3-player version of Subway Surfers. That sounds interesting. Damn, I'm sad that I missed that. We learned a lot from this collaboration and informed the next round of updates in quite meaningful ways. In general, events turned out to be great opportunities for us to learn more about our players. The highlights for Frank were the new boss fights for the Brawl Arena event in October, as well as new Brawler release events. While we are still learning about the new release events even today, it was an important step for us to allow more players to access the latest content shortly after release. I will say, actually, after the new Brawler release box event thing started showing up, a lot less people complaining about how new brawlers are made broken on purpose to try to, like, you know, milk money or like make the game pay to win. You know, like, I don't know if anyone else has noticed that beforehand with K's especially. A lot of people were saying like Brawl Stars is so fucking pay to win because they make all the new brawlers on release broken and then charge like them for a paywall. Ever since they started doing these like new brawler event boxes, you don't really hear that complaint as much anymore because, right, it doesn't really make sense. Like, I guess since, you know, even free-to-play players can get them, like, I guess, well, it's not really pay to win if anybody can get it, right, for free. The first brawlers released this way were Mina, somewhat OP, and Ziggy, maybe somewhat on the weak side. There was an unrelated learning here as well. With Mina, we leaned way too much into her being inspired by Brazilian culture rather than us focusing on her place in the world of Star Park. I did actually hear that for like Brazilian people, Mina is just like a walking stereotype. Oh, very funny. I guess it would be like if you made a Chinese brawler that like did kung fu and talked about how much they love eating noodles with chopsticks or some shit. It's funny, but yeah, maybe a little bit off. The Mina release was part of our strategic plan to increase our presence in Brazil, together with the Brawl Esports LCQ event in Sao Paulo and our collaboration with Raisa Lille. Don't know who that is, but we should and could have balanced this better as we did similar releases quite frequently before, for example, Kenji, K's, Melody, etc. And once again, we learned a lot for future releases. Makes sense. And then the Brawl Stars competitive last chance qualifier in Sao Paulo was our first Brawl Stars esports event in South America. The audience did not disappoint and welcomed 16 teams from around the world. The competition was fierce as the audience witnessed the elimination of the local favorites from Casa Brawl Esports. Yeah. At the end of the day, 4 teams came out on top, securing their spot to the Brawl Stars Championship World Finals event a few months later. Revenant X Spark, Totem Esports, Crazy Raccoon, and Papara Supermassive. Yeah. Unfortunately, South America actually very big fans of Brawl Stars. I believe Brazil and I forget the other country, but you know, it's just like the South American ones. Brawl Stars is really big there. Not the strongest esports scene though, for whatever reason, but there's a lot of people playing in that region. You know, who knows? Maybe this year South American teams will prove us all wrong. It'll be a Toxic Lotus moment where South American GOAT actually does really well in competitive. Let's see. Frank says, this was also an opportunity for myself and a small group of Brawl Stars team members to meet with some of the local content creators to discuss the ecosystem and their challenges in the region. Big shout out to all the content creators that contributed to the event and spent time with us, especially during the breakout sessions. Muito obrigado. O carinho e baixão de vocês é contagiante. Hola, me llamo Bedlam, me gusta el Spanish mami. There was one more painful learning here, a rework nobody asked for. Meant as a quality of life change, we decided to refresh trophy icons. This change clearly didn't land with most of you, and as you likely already noticed, we made another change this update to improve the situation for you. However, Update 63 did also do something else for us unseen by many. It stabilized retention numbers and stopped the decline of daily active users. Oh, really? Huh, so the Subway Surfers event, I guess in Brawl Arena and those bosses helped stabilize the declining daily active user numbers. Interesting. In mid-November, we shipped Update 64 and with it our collaboration with Stranger Things, just in time for the final season on Netflix, as well as some quite impactful quality of life features like the rework of the daily wins and mega quests. While the skins were somewhat controversial, with fans praising and other players lacking excitement about them, the gameplay elements of the update received a lot of praise from the community and people kept playing Upside Showdown and Brawler decks. This was also one of the rare moments for us that a new game mode increased the overall playtime of Brawl Stars in meaningful ways. We're still thinking about how we could bring back this game mode in the future. Nice. Yeah, I don't watch Stranger Things, so I don't know anything about it. I heard that the ending was like fucking dog shit, but the event was fun, so honestly, I'm happy. W sacrificing the quality of Stranger Things to make the Brawl Stars event more high quality. That's what it's all about. Outside the Stranger Things collaboration, we also released Gigi, yes, another assassin, and even more controversial than the Stranger Things skins. Really? Is Gigi controversial? I didn't know that. Frank is saying, even more controversial than the Stranger Things skins was our decision to focus on the Brawl Day season around Mecha. The Mecha theme has always been super strong, and the Brawl Pass itself was the best performing one since the summer, but once again, the Christmas season humbled us. Were Mecha really the best choice for the season? Yeah, I mean, I think the Mecha Pass skin was like Mandy or Piper or something, but the skin was goated, so people, I'm not surprised that they bought the Brawl Pass, but the theme was not really there. I think Christmas should probably be Christmas themed, and we should probably have like snow skins. Like, I always find it all weird when summer has like pirates or like summer. They're like, just make it snow. It's just a simple thing. Okay, just make it snow in the lobby, and give me another brawler wearing a Santa outfit, preferably Melody. Okay, Santa Charlie and Santa Melody in a fucking skimpy Mrs. Claus Santa fit. You know, with their toes out, frolicking in the snow. I think that's all we want, and that would generate numbers. Brawl Stars, please just stop doing weird shit and just focus on the Gooners. On November 28th, the Brawl Stars community and many of our creators came together to celebrate the Brawl Stars Championship World Finals at DreamHack Winter in Stockholm. I actually went there in person. With teams competing for a share of the $1 million USD prize pool and limitless bragging rights. Following a live performance of the Brawl Stars original My Only Trophy, the former world champions from Humble faced Crazy Raccoon in this rematch of the 2024 Grand Finals. Crazy Raccoon reversed the roles and swept Humble 3-0, securing 400,000 USD and the crown, with Milk Rio, one of the most veteran competitors in our esports programs, securing the title MVP. Blah blah blah, you know. Behind the scenes and unknown to most people, pretty much 100% of the Brawl Stars team traveled to Stockholm to attend the World Finals in person. We also invited 20 of our biggest content creators from around the world. I was not invited, and used the opportunity to have everyone in one place to discuss the state of the game with them and give them a glimpse into what we have planned for 2026. Yeah, so I was not invited out in person, so I had to pay for everything like a loser, but I did pay for it and I did go, and it was really fun. Probably will try to make it to Worlds this year, but I heard nothing about, you know what, I can't say. Yeah, I can't talk about that. I might make it, we'll see what happens. And then Update 65, the final update of the year, introduced some serious changes to Brawl Stars. Buffy's Brawl Pass 3.0 and Chaos drops. Much has been said about this update, and we've seen the heated discussions on Reddit and X. The team covered most of the questions around these topics and talked about some improvements specifically for Buffy's in the Last Time to Explain podcast. I made a video about that podcast on my main channel. You should check it out. It was pretty good, I think. On the performance side, Update 65 was the most successful update of the year. Following the stabilization 2 updates prior, our engagement numbers started growing significantly from day 1 of the new update, which set us up very nicely for the beginning of 2026. Spoiler, January and February until today sustained the positive momentum, and we're off to a great start for the year. Interesting. I mean, yeah, if you haven't seen the podcast or my video about it, they basically just talked about a lot of the metrics for the game after Buffy's, which was just all like really positive. So I guess cool to see that that trend is still trending. The last bit I have to talk about is the Pierce release event. The first Legendary Marksman was very well received by all of you. The in-game integration of the event and the short videos on YouTube just worked. Let's get this out of the way. The event was a success. But at what cost? Some of you were clearly put off by the crude humor, and the theme itself was better suited for the summer season. We should have timed this differently, and once again, this was a good learning for us. Technically speaking, we've built some new capabilities for storytelling and some new tools in the box for future events. We already reused some of these tools during the Brawlentine event, and I am looking forward to seeing what other things the team can do with this new tech. Yeah, I mean, you know, the Pierce piss in the pool thing, I don't know, I think I might have talked about this before on like stream, but I personally never really cared that much. I think a lot of people were like, oh, peeing is so gross, and the fact that they are making this event, you know, in relation to children who are in pools, and then there's this grown man just peeing in them, like that's fucking weird. Actually, I think the pisser ended up being Globert. Am I incorrect to say that? And Mo? I don't know how old they are. Like, to me, like, if you're a kid and you see humor like this, I think this honestly resonates with you a lot. Like, kids have very crude potty humor. I think you'd be very surprised as to what kids find funny. I don't think any kid is gonna look or watch this piss content and be like, feel like sexualized or something weird, you know? Like, I think to me this just seems like a case of a lot of adults finding the content unrelatable, which makes sense because it's not. This is like, it's pee in the pool, like it's a fucking potty humor joke aimed at children. Like again, a summer event in winter, it just doesn't fit the vibe to me unless you live in Australia. Australians are super up, I guess. Hopefully next year we can get like Ali and Willow and Melody and Charlie and Shelly just all in Mrs. Klaus Santa bikini outfits. You know, actually, they can be in bikinis. They just have to be Christmas themed bikinis, and they need to be cold and flushed in the snow. What else happened in 2025? Since January 2025, the team has grown more than 20 people year over year, and we are about to be 100 people strong. Thinking back when we launched the game in December 2019, we were 19 people, everything considered. Holy shit, wait, what the fuck? Yo, I actually recognize quite a few of these people. I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces from my trip to Helsinki recently. That's really sweet. I think actually I was learning to look up to see if there's like numbers that I could find of the general size of dev teams for big games. Looks like it kind of depends on the game. Some games do prefer to have smaller dev team sizes, like Supercell of less than 100 people. Some games will have like thousands of employees. It just kind of depends on the scope, I guess, of what they're trying to do. But yeah, Supercell traditionally has always just preferred smaller dev teams to like get stuff done faster, I guess. That's what they say. And get more general group cohesion and decisions and stuff. So I guess that's just something to keep in mind, I guess, when you're thinking about like, man, how can this billion-dollar company like have released updates with so many bugs? It's probably because they're not working with a billion people. They're working with 100. So yeah. The biggest change came in the form of a new tech team within Brawl Stars. Traditionally at Supercell, all game teams receive support from a central tech team. However, as the company grew over the years and with many game projects, including new ones going in parallel, prioritization became harder and harder. The solution for this was to build some capabilities internally, and I'm happy to say that we have established the team and already saw some positive impact both on the client side, loading speeds, and tooling for our artists. For the foreseeable future, the tech team has these priorities. This is some kind of nerd shit, basically. Like, I think I mentioned every game in Supercell has its own like team of people and their own like general manager. But then I guess separate from the individual game teams, there's also like a technical team that just provides general support for the same game engine that every Supercell game uses. Like they have their own custom Supercell game engine that they all use. So the tech team kind of like, you know, manages that engine and like tries to like provide support for every game. But then there's like some issues with that. I think I talked to Frank about this and kind of learned from him personally, and he was telling me about this. And you know, Brawl Stars over time, like it just kind of got hard to like get the same focus and attention specifically to like support Brawl Stars with the engine, and so they decided to make their own tech team within Brawl Stars to basically handle all these issues. And so now that has improved client performance. So there's faster loading speeds. I think Frank told me that they basically halved loading speeds on lower end devices, which is pretty cool. No one ever notices it though, because it's a fucking loading screen. Like you don't ever think about it. And most people don't have like the lowest end device. It also, they might not notice it as much. Actually, I think Frank told me there were some cases where they specifically had to add like a fake loading screen because the game loaded too fast, which I think is actually kind of weird to think about. That like you see a loading screen and it might not actually be real. It might just be like the game's already loaded, but they just add an animation there just so you still feel the feeling of loading into a game. But yeah, I guess Frank also talks about how like in the future they're also going to try to do some improved tools for devs, more live operability, like balance changes on the fly instead of doing a maintenance. That could be cool. Unlocking novel gameplay, don't know what that means, but we'll see. There's also some work to be done on the server infrastructure, which is also something we are tackling. This is probably a good moment to point out that we are consistently looking for additional talent. You can find an overview of our job openings at supercell.com. A great place to work, by the way. I will just say, like, holy shit, I visited their office, and if I ever wanted to work anywhere, that would be like the place. Like genuinely, like I walked around the Supercell office, guys, they have a fucking private gym. They have free snacks and food for every employee. The food there is served that you have, like, it's so delicious. They have just like infinite merch that they just get, and it's all really high quality that they don't sell for any regular people. It is really fucking insane. Their office is, it's actually like, holy shit. I'm not genuinely not paid or glazing. I genuinely like, I would personally want to work there if I could. Or I'll probably talk more about it in like the video that I make about the trip. Our CEO Ilka already talked about the general performance of Supercell in his annual blog. For Brawl Stars, 2025 was a year of learning, and the first half of the year looked quite grim, especially compared to the breakout year we had in 2024. This being said, things did stabilize in September 2025, and since then the game has been growing every month. Ultimately, 2025 was the second best year ever for Brawl Stars in terms of both monthly active users and revenue. Our third best year being 2020. Really? Huh. It is interesting, actually, the difference between... Because I know on YouTube, the viewership really dropped off in 2025 compared to 2024 for most creators. And even compared to like old 2023 and 2022, like it was a really low point. And it still is kind of okay. But it's interesting that 2025 was still the second best year ever for Brawl Stars in terms of like the game side. So I guess that's just like the difference, I guess, between game performance and community performance. I would like to end with a big thank you to our community of players and pro players, our content creators, casters, and partners that stuck with us through the good and bad times, even when we are not always hitting the mark. Without you, we wouldn't be where we are today. We're looking forward to a great 2026, and we'll talk more about this in the upcoming Not a Roadmap video, which will be released at some point in March 2026. Thanks for reading. You guys already know I'll be watching that and reacting to it, either on stream or in a video like this, if you guys enjoy this type of thing. So yeah, overall, it was an okay article. I feel like for these kinds of articles, it would be really cool if Frank talked more about like general stats, but I guess they already have the Time to Explain podcast where they talk about it, and he maybe doesn't want to like rehash everything. But still, I think for me personally, I'd love to like, you know, like if he like, I'd love to learn more about like, okay, but what is the average trophy count, you know, or what is like the average trophy amount for accounts in Brawl Stars, you know, as a whole. I think that would be really interesting to hear and learn about. Or maybe even like when he talked about rank, like what is the average player's rank in Brawl Stars? You know, I don't think that there's any numbers about that online. That'd be kind of cool to see. But it is still nice, I guess, to get kind of a more detailed peek into what the literal lead of the game thinks about 2025. And he also didn't really maybe go into a lot of more, I guess, you know, it sounds like he's planning on making a whole video too, like called Not a Roadmap video, which we'll talk about the future. He didn't really talk too much about in this article about what he plans to do and what he and the team plan to do in terms of like fixing records, for example, or events that will come this year and the next. But, you know, as a general like overview of what happened in 2025 and like trying to get what the dev team thinks about the year, this is, I think, is an alright article. If it came out, I think, like January or early January, like, you know, like late December, and you know, I think that would be kind of more interesting, but that also probably wouldn't have nearly as positive of a note because they wouldn't have seen all like the impacts of buffies yet, right? So yeah, let me know if you guys enjoyed this type of a thing, and if you don't, let me know as well, and I'll never cover a roadmap video again. That's gonna be it from me. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all in the next one. Love you. Peace. Bye. Mwah.